You can talk to Shani anytime. It doesn't matter day or night. Shani, giving you light and love. We're coming on without a doubt. There's nothing you can't talk about. Shani, get ready to start the show. You're on with Shani, and you know we're gonna talk. Ordinary people and extraordinary God. Check the reference in Ephesians 5. We walking in the light, and we're living in love. You know with Shani, we gon' keep it intact. Cause every Monday got it coming, yeah, we coming right back. So act like you know, we get it on and poppin' at the Shani Show. You can talk to Shani anytime. It doesn't matter day or night. Shani, we're giving you light and love. We're coming on without a doubt. There's nothing you can't talk about with Shani. Welcome to another episode of the Sharing with Shani show. And I thought for like special effect, I'd start talking and then turn my video off, and then it didn't want to click off because I'll be trying to do extra stuff.
We
Look
got
at
the Zoom needs a fade
yo!
in button.
I thought, yes, I was trying to do a fade in shot. So I was like 4:45. I'm like, Facebook is down. What are we gonna do? Instagram is down. Like, I had to be on Twitter all day. I was kind of out of my element. and and then I started getting text messages from faithful listeners. Like, so I'm gonna shout out my friend Heather. My friend Heather is like a ride or die listener from day one. Mondays was always the worst day ever for her to come on and listen to the show, whether it was transporting kids when her kids were because she's an empty nester. And so when her kids were younger and they were all in different directions and no one was driving yet, right? Mondays was just horrible. Then it was youth group, right? Then it was, and so it's still not a great, Mondays are not great. And so she watches the show like people binge watch.
Oh, okay.
Like your favorite TV show. So she'll wait. So she'll wait and she'll watch all the September shows like on a Saturday afternoon. So then I'll get random text messages like three from a show like 3 weeks ago, right? It's so funny.
I like it.
But yes, and so she asked me earlier today, what was I going to do at the show? And I just sent her the praying hands. Because I was like, I don't know. I was like, and then because both sites were down, how was I going to tell people we were on a different platform anyway? Yeah. Like, I wasn't going to be able to say, hey, head on over to YouTube. So, Mika.
That's a big one.
I know, right?
That's a big one. I guess, we just got to hit them with you post a message as soon as you can. And that's it, right? Like, ain't no need to, can't be worrying about stuff. No more, exactly. No more worries.
No, say that again.
No more worries. I'm gonna sing that in my Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, we'll do it that way. I'm tired of being worried.
I know that's right.
Tired of being worried, for real. And that's the whisper for today.
Oh, tired of being worried?
Nope, stand in faith.
Say that one more time.
Stand in your faith.
Stand in your faith. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's been I'm trying to find us, Shani. That's why I look distracted, because I am distracted. Yeah, I don't see that we're live.
So we are, and I had to update.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
I was like,
okay, there we go. Here I is. All right. Yeah. No more worries, because there's no point.
It's not.
It just is. I want to share, if I may.
Absolutely.
So I'm not used to moving targets, I will say. So my employer is constantly, what's up, B? Is constantly changing, what our things to do are. I don't know any other way to say it. Our duties, our requirements. So we have a quota now, and that's not what I signed up for, right? I'm not a salesperson. Anytime I hear quota, I start thinking about sales and being a business major, and I'm none of those things. And so I don't like it. And not just that I don't like it, but I'm not in the field that I'm in, I don't even understand how, quotas help, first of all. Mm-hmm. But the biggest issue is that there's the constant change, right? And I like stability. I like structure. I need it because my personal life is constantly changing, right? You're an entrepreneur, a business owner. I feel like you get me. There are things, constantly putting out fires as a parent, as a business owner, as a small micro business owner. I also have more than one business. And so there's just, there's always a lot happening. And I am not used to, like a job just constantly changing. And so they do this, it's this weird thing that happens. It's like, oh, we got a new mandate, forget the last one, and this is a new one moving forward, and it's always like effective immediately. So there's also no adjustment time, which is another part of the challenge. But then in like a week, it'll be like, well, remember what we had said last week? Don't do that. Go back to the 2 weeks before, but not this time, the next week. It's like a riddle. It's a lot of math trying to figure, okay, can I just have a date? When, which one? And then when, right? And so last week, now this new quota thing just, took place. And this was the first time I didn't meet it. And when I tell y'all, I had so much anxiety, which is a very uncommon thing for me. First of all, I don't bring home work. Second of all, I don't be worrying about work. But like, there what? Was, yeah. So I had, my stomach was just so in knots, right? There's a lot of therapists, their thing is, tell me where you feel it. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm feeling nowhere. Like right now I'm frustrated. So in my head, is that where I feel it? But I felt it in my stomach, and I also felt it in my chest because, like my heart, I felt like I was skipping a beat or, doing this weird thing or whatever. Didn't sleep. And so last Thursday, I went out, because it was the next to the last day for the end of the year. And I was just like, I got to get it, get it all in. Or was last Thursday the last day of the year? Last Thursday was the last day of the year. Yeah. So how about that? Of the month, of the month, of the month,
of the month, or fiscal year, however you want to say it.
Well, yeah, that part didn't affect me, but of the month, because then at the first of each month, the clock just resets. So on the 30th, I'm just doing all sorts of things. Okay. So at the end of that night, after I had submitted everything, I remember like my hand is on the, the top of the laptop and I'm about to close it down. And I just said a prayer. And the prayer really was, Lord, I am completely standing in faith right now. Okay. Like completely, because before this whole thing, there was another work issue, with these whole mandates and accommodations and things like that. So that was already, just lingering on my mind. And I think not hitting my quota just added to that whole uncertain situation as well. I think that's what exacerbated it. So yeah, the prayer, it was a very simple prayer. And I remember feeling, before I prayed, I remember just kind of feeling like Tamika, you must be crazy. Like, your stomach has been in knots for a week, like a full 7 days. I don't know how many hours that is, but a full 7 days. Not sleeping, not really talking because I was irritable. So I close my mouth when I'm irritable because it's probably not going to be nice what comes out.
Hello.
It's going to be short, the tone, all that stuff. I was at capacity, basically, is what I'm saying. So when I prayed, I just remember saying, like, I am standing in faith because that's all I can do. That is all I can do. I realize that this is no longer about me. Maybe it was never about me, and I made it about me, right? I made it about what. Maybe it was never about me, and I made it about me. You hear it? Right. Okay. And so I removed myself and my own desires out of it because it wasn't working. It was driving me crazy. And I really do try to do that earlier on and these types of tests. But that one, I think it hit so fast, right? These changes and these new requirements, they came so very quickly. It was like this knee-jerk reaction to only rely on my own capabilities. Knee-jerk reaction. So like I'm trying to change that knee-jerk reaction. It should never be me immediately thinking about, okay, what can I do? Like the immediate thing should really be to pray.
Right.
Because it's above me, right? It's out of my hands. This is not in my realm.
It's really above me right now.
Yeah, it's above me, right? It's above my pay grade. That's
what we wouldn't want you to worry.
No, you wouldn't. And definitely not like that. Like that was bad. Like I said, I don't think I've ever worried about, and I've been in some pickles. I just wanted to say that tonight. Right? Like
I've been in some pickles.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little kid said that to me over the weekend. So I said, I have to say that because it was so cute when he said it. He said, we're in quite a pickle, aren't we? And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I've been in some very, just the only God can change this type of situation, but I don't know what happened this time, and it's okay. Because I do feel like it was a test, and I do feel like I passed, right? Not after some serious stressing. But I did realize that it wasn't supposed to be that way, right? It wasn't supposed to be anything that I was stressing about. And I was saying it, but I wasn't like acting in it. Like I was saying, oh, God will handle it. But I wasn't really acting that way. And not because I didn't believe it, because I there's this charge that I feel when certain things happen. I feel like I have capabilities and I should use them. That's like a work ethic or something, right? It's like, you're capable, go do it.
Right.
But not really. It's like, how we'd be like, oh, they got my light work. We like to do that with God. We put him in his box. I got all my work. Right. Just send him first.
Yeah.
Right. He's not the cleanup man. Like, he is the man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I think we tend to forget that, like, God can do it all.
Like little, small, in between. Yeah. We be worrying about stuff, like I posted the other day, like, you're exhausted. That was my realization. And like, you're exhausted because you're fighting the wrong way. Like, we're fighting, what is it? Not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. All right. Yeah. So I can't see these principalities. I'm tired, right? You just swinging, just all over the place, exhausted. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no worries. Like, yeah, Facebook was down today. Instagram was down today. I tried to add my new product to my website. It didn't work. It's not working. You pay for all of this stuff. It's not bringing in money because of all these tech issues and things like that. And I was just like, I dedicated an hour. after an hour, it still didn't go live. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Like, what can you do? Like,
Nothing.
you're not, like, what can you do? Like, you be like, all right, that, like, that's when it was funny, because I was sharing with you before we went live, like my girlfriend was like, what are you going to do with the show? I sent her the praying emojis, because I mean, I'm not with, I don't work for Facebook tech support.
Right.
Like, I don't have Zuckerberg on speed dial. Like,
exactly.
It's out of my hands. So we just gonna pray.
Right.
So Trudy said, ooh, child, I remember the day I conquered that closing my mouth when irritated.
Yes. It's self-preservation. Because when you're irritable,
it is definitely self-preservation and self-control.
Yeah. It's in those moments where, I have less patience, I have less tolerance. I'm, if you're allotted a pizza pie, right? I'm controlling how many triangles get filled up on one issue, before I reach capacity. So if it's already more than half of the pie, I'm like, it's time to shut it down. Because I'm not going to, appoint all of me to this one thing. I can't do it. So I have to, that is about self-preservation. Yes, also self-control. And when I say, I close my mouth because it might be ugly, I don't really mean that in a what comes out of my mouth might be ugly. It's really on the inside. It's like I'm immediately feeling like, please go away. Leave me alone. If you're not here to help, goodbye. Right. And as a mom, as a business owner, somebody is always requiring something of you. And so I just have to be quiet. I have to shut it down. Like, nobody can get anything because I need me right now. Right. That's it. So yeah.
Do you get your energy off retreating? Like, I mean, like, do you need silence, or do you need to be around people?
No. I think it depends on what it is. I feel like it may start as silence, but it always leads to being around the right people. Or maybe it's just a balance of both. I'm not really sure. I know that there are that's when the boundaries kick in, right? There are some people I have to cut off, during that time, because all y'all are triggers. Like, everything that come out your mouth is a trigger on a regular day. So today is not the day. And then when, it's silence. But the silence isn't so much to cut other people out. It really is for me, right? To shut down everything in me. I have to stop the process and hear from the creator. That's really why I shut down. Close your mouth. You're getting in your way. Be quiet. God is trying to talk to you. That's really where the shutdown comes in.
Right.
And then it is to, like, just stop the flow in of ding, 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 ding. Just always all the stimuli, right? I have to cut all that out. And then it'll go into, okay, I need to surround myself with people that get me. Usually my sister, my baby sister, is so good because she gets me. We're so much alike. It's crazy. We think alike. We get on my mom's nerves because we are alike. But she does. She gets it. She kind of knows, like, when to back off, when is her timing is great. We'll put it that way. She has really good timing. And so, and there's, like, never a need for an explanation. Yeah. Yeah. And I really do enjoy that. And so, But she's far now. Well, she's in Hampton, but yeah. So I'm learning just how to, if people is not an option, right? Because I also don't want to be like emotionally dependent on anybody either. That's not fair to them, first of all.
Right.
And then it's not fair to me, because what if they're not available because they got a life like the rest of us?
Yeah.
So I'm learning to self-soothe. Yeah.
I think that's a great segue, just in having the conversation. So Barbara, we don't know where our guest is, so we're just shooting the breeze right now, folks. Cool. So if you were coming on because you were looking for the woman that looked like she had a whole lot of money on the flyer.
So funny. It's so funny.
I mean, she looked like I was like, I saw that her headshot came through and I was like, what is she doing? She's living her best life.
Her best life. I'm just now seeing the comments. Brian talking about your lips. That's funny.
But
it's really cute.
But so now I'm off. Now I can't. Now I'm off.
We're talking about being emotionally dependent.
Dependent on people. Yes, because I think it's a thing. It's a real thing. And what I think, why do you think people are emotionally dependent on people?
Well, I think it's kind of, I feel like our parents do that to us. I don't want to be like blaming my mama and daddy for everything, but I think it kind of starts there. If you think about like, even, I don't know what your parenting style was, but like, when babies cry, we want to go pick them up, and you have like that grandparent or that auntie, and let them self-soothe, and don't rush to fix it for them, trying to figure that out, and parent guilt and all that stuff. You have parents who have their own emotional challenges, right? And so they kind of groom their children to be dependent on them for like everything. Yeah. Like literally everything. If you pay attention, I told you before, like I'm a people watcher, I'll go sit in the parking lot and just watch. It's maybe a weird thing I probably shouldn't say on radio, but whatever. It's what I do.
I mean, I do it too.
Yeah. I want to know what's going on in the world. What's hurting us.
I people watch. That's why that was one of the big things with COVID, like when we couldn't go outside. I'm like, but people make me creative.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an energy for me.
Watching people, listening to their conversations, listening to, like I get creativity from that. I build off of that.
Same. I can write a song. I can sit in the parking lot and leave with like 2 poems and a song easily. Yeah. So I definitely pull off that energy.
So pause. Pause real quick. I gotta tell this because this is hilarious. So me and the homie will be in the car and we will literally see 2 people walking down the street, name them, and build a whole story.
Isn't that fun?
A whole story based on their mannerisms and based on like what they're doing. Yes. Like we can't hear them, but we have a whole narrative.
Yes. Storytellers, man.
Yes, right. It is hilarious.
I do that with animals too, though. It's something I used to do when I was younger, but it'll be a dog walking, human walking his dog, and the dog would do something funny, and I'd be like, look, the dog, hey, master, why don't you let me go play? Stop hogging me all to yourself. Yeah, I do that. Building stories with the couple that's walking down the street. I imagine where they met, what they are about to go do, what they just finished doing, stuff like that. It's fun. But but with no, Trudy, you're not the only one.
No, absolutely not.
Being emotionally dependent on other people, I think, is kind of a natural thing that we have to train ourselves to go against. I also think it is a misconception of love, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of expectations, and that's one of my models when I'm doing counseling is I'm like couples family counseling. We're going to start with communication and expectations, because it's very important to understand how expectations can get us in trouble. And so I think being emotionally dependent on somebody, it's like a learned behavior. I don't think we do it on purpose. You know, I don't think we mean to. We hold people hostage, right? Like we hold their emotions hostage. If we don't get what we want, we hold them hostage, and vice versa. And I think it's very ugly. I always say my job is not to make you happy. That's your responsibility. If I can add to your joy, to your happiness, I love to do that. Right. So the hostage part is, you know, if I do something that upsets you, or, you know, you weren't satisfied with, there's like this reaction to that, and it's intentional, right? It's like, oh, well, you didn't make me happy, so then I'm not going to make you happy. I'm not going to do the things that I know you like. And you're just sitting over there so lost, you know, I didn't even know that didn't make you happy, you know, like it's right. And it would just start going down this tumble of like horror and disaster. It's horrible though. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. And you have to, and I think the older we get, but then you know, there's some people that, I mean, because you started early, like I remember, girl, when you told that story about on my first date with my husband, I told him what I expected. And I was like, I wish, and like me and all my girlfriends was like, we should have had some Mika juice in our 20s, because we were still dating our representative, right? Mm-hmm, like our representative was still showing up, right? Like, and ask us how that went. But nevertheless, but the fact of it is that when you are really secure in yourself, it is much easier to come and say, you know, when you do that, I don't really like that. And I think you might have thought I liked that, but I don't. Right. And a lot of times that's all you needed to do.
So much. There's so much.
Right? But because we don't communicate honestly about things that bother us.
Right.
Then we let it fester.
Well, we're talking about like usually romantic relationships. I would say, you know, platonic relationships don't have that much pressure. But when we're like talking about romantic relationships, when we first, you know, are doing, we're in the beginning stages of, you just meet somebody, right? All right. And we're having our first conversation. You automatically pick up some things. Right. There's something I think in us where we want to, if let's say it's a positive feeling, you're like, oh, I like this one. This could go somewhere, right? Okay. So now that's the filter that we have. This can go somewhere. I want this can go somewhere. So all the actions that happen after, well, I won't say all, I don't like to use superlatives, but many actions that happen after that are like manipulative in a certain way, because you want it to work, you want it to happen. We're going to do all the good things to make it happen. Right. And we kind of start off not representing our true selves from that point on. Right. I think it's important that you don't laugh at jokes if they're not funny.
Right.
This is a personal thing of mine. I'm not laughing at a joke that's not funny, because you're going to think it's okay to keep telling them dumb jokes. And at some point, I'm going to forget that I used to laugh about it. And I'm going to just be like, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm guilty.
All the
I'm
faces.
Guilty. I'm guilty.
Right?
And
like,
then,
that's not cute.
I'm accused, and then you become accused of, man, you changed.
Right.
You're the same. And then I'll be like,
that was never funny.
It was never funny. Like, it was.
But you used to laugh. I did,
Nope.
and I should not have.
Did. Oh my gosh!
So sorry.
But like, it was never given funny.
Yeah, don't say you like something that you don't like. When they feed you and they're like, "Oh, taste this," you like, "Oh, that was good." No. Yeah. If it was nasty, please say so. And you don't gotta be like, "Oh, that's nasty." We can definitely make our delivery, palatable. But like we do these things.
Yes. And also though, we can't get mad, especially women. I'm speaking to my ladies tonight real quick. Well, that's who mainly watches the show, but we can't get, one of the things that I hear all the time with men is, y'all want us to be honest, and then we're honest, you get mad, right?
I have the opposite problems. So it's the other way around. I'm like, oh, you gonna get all this truth today? Yeah,
right. You're too honest because
and I don't get upset if you be like, oh my God, what is that hat you have on? My hat? Because I don't do things for other people. I feel like, no, I'm not perfect. Let's just say that. I am not perfect, okay? I do not have all the answers. I do not have the perfect marriage. I get on my husband's last nerve. I'm sure of it, okay? Let's just be very clear. Right. However, the moves that I make, it's not always about other people. What they're gonna say, how they're gonna feel, it's me. Maybe I'm self-centered in that way, but it has to be, right? It has to come from an internal place, because everything else is like subjective and conditional. I can't operate in that.
Right.
I just cannot. My feelings are not hurt. I have my uncles and stepdad to thank for all of that. I was a very sensitive child, and they made sure, they was like, nah, you live in the hood, you can't be sensitive. Like, she said she ain't like your glasses and you about to cry. She said they were ugly. So right. What? Well, who cares? She doesn't like, oh, that's my best friend, and she said it was ugly. Right. Who you crying for? Like,
yo, I remember
all the time.
Listen, I remember it was this is like, so I had a son first, didn't have that problem, right? So then I have Rihanna, right? And
I forgot Ray is the oldest girl. Okay, yeah.
So then I was like, so it's kindergarten, right? Comes home, first day of kindergarten. Margaret said my shoes are old. Right. So this is so her mother, first of all, I'm just full disclosure, this is how I parent. And I said, you tell Margaret her name is old.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't have no comeback. Right?
That was so funny.
Right?
Poor Margaret.
But then my second part, this is 2005, y'all. Like, I wasn't expecting Margaret to be a name in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
But I said, but then I said, do you like your shoes? Because let's be clear, she picked the shoes out.
Right.
Do you like your shoes? Yes. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You like them.
I think so. Confidence is a big part, right, of emotional dependence.
Right.
My mom was very big on and not even in a direct, well, yeah, I got it directly and indirectly. I just think when when people are like, oh, how are you so confident? You have a lot of self-esteem or whatever. That I thank my mom for that, because really she, even if she was scared, like, we ain't know, she did it anyway. We knew later, because for a while, she wasn't really transparent, but I think I changed that. I think if my mom could have it her way, she would not share. But I was just the child, like, you was gonna talk to me. You was gonna talk to me about real things. Like, I want to know how you feel about being my mama. I asked my mom, I don't know, God made me that way, right? I'm inquisitive and I'm emotional, and I want to make sure we're emotionally connected and secure. I needed that, and I just kind of pulled that out of people. But my mom was one of those people. Yes, she was a single mother for a majority of my life. And, you know, she had me fairly young. And so we grew up together. And I just felt like, you know, if it's just me and you, homie, then I got things I need to know. Right. Right.
Yeah,
and I feel like there are things that you should know too. I don't ever want to be trying to guess how you feel around here because I'm still the child, you know, so like her feelings directly affected me. So I kind of need to know. But she instilled a lot of confidence in us. And I just think just from watching her, like I watched her do it scared. There would be times maybe like she didn't say it to me, but like I overheard her, you know, talking to one of her friends or whatever, like, oh, I got, you know, I'm applying for a new job. I'm so nervous and this and that, whatever, you know. And so, but I had this inside information and then still saw her do it anyway, right? And still show up, you know, invest in herself, do the things that she needed to do to gain more security and trust in herself. So whether it was, you know, going for a training or getting mentorship, whatever it might have been, I saw her handle her business. And that's how I grew up, watching her handle her business. If there was, my mama could friggin' she knew cars too. How? Because she would ask questions and she would have conversations. So like when things went wrong, she'd be like, no, that's not the carburetor, it's the whatever. You know, I used to be like, how does she know this? She telling the mechanic, it's not that, it's this. And the mechanic like, and then he, oh, yeah, you were right, it wasn't that, it was this. So that is just the woman that I grew up with. And because of that, I think it just set the precedent that nobody is perfect. Nobody knows everything, but you have a choice, right? You're either going to live or you're going to roll over and die. And Tracy every day chose to get up and live. And that's just the bottom line. And we're going to figure it out as we go. Because she never pretended to have all the answers. It was, today I choose to live. Everything else will fall into place. And so Tamika doesn't know any other way to be. That's it. Right. That's all I got. I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to roll over and die.
And that's exactly how I grew up too. Like, especially being an only child, like, and being privy to, like all of my, like a lot of my mom's close friends, because we did live in a small town, and you know, she was very cautious of who her close friends were. I mean, she had friends in our town, but she was also like the county social worker. So there was like, you know, there was a level of discretion that was needed for a lot of things. And so, but one of the things I would remember is her late night conversations on the phone with her girlfriends, right? And, you know, a lot of them were still on the West Coast because we came from California to New York. So it was nothing for my mother to be on the phone at 11 o'clock at night because it's only 8 o'clock in California time. And hearing her, you know, admitting that, you know, my mother made a lot of sacrifices just so I could have a better life. And I recognized that at an early age, right? And a lot of the sacrifices she made was her personal relationships. Right? Like everybody didn't come around me, right? When I found out my mother was seeing somebody, I was probably like 11. I said, she got a boyfriend? I ain't never met him. I was like, you know, it was things like that I, you know, like.
Were you possessive over your mom?
No.
Oh, okay. I was.
I wasn't. Like, I was like, when I found things out, like, and then when I remember when I started dating and like, or she let me date and we would start to have those type of conversations. It was really like, I started to see her as a woman mother, right? Like, got it. Right? I'm like, oh, she's like more than a mother, right? You know, so when she did meet her person, I was really, by this time, I'm like in high school. Right? And so she's like, you know, she's starting to plan out her second act, I called it, right? And I was grateful for that because she did sacrifice like like her good years. Like I could have had a sibling, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But no, it was just me and her.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me, like, there's no doubt, my self-esteem on high, because like, I don't remember a day where she didn't tell me I couldn't be anybody or do anything or be whatever I wanted to be. Like, right? Like, I think I was sharing on my birthday Thursday, I did my little list, and like, so my mother was in special education for many, many, many years. And so there's a test that they give babies to just make sure that they are, that their cognitive skills are healthy, right?
Got it.
So anything like 7, 8, 9, 10 is the max, you know, only like 0.5% of babies will be 10, right? On the first try. So they do it at birth, and then they do it an hour and then 3 hours after birth. And then if anything less than 7, it's a little bit more aggressive, you know, just to determine if there's any type of birth defect or whatever.
Okay.
Say all that to say, got to preference that. Child, why every year my mom would tell me that every year at my birth, when she would replay my birth story, that my APGAR test was a 9 every time, right? And every time I would do, like, if she felt like I didn't live up to my potential, right? I don't know why you're playing yourself. You had a 9 APGAR, and I'll be like, okay, Trudy, I gotta do over. I didn't invite a lot of people to karaoke, and I apologize. But like I told people, it's every Thursday. Just say the word. I'm there. Sorry. But yeah, so I have to thank my mother. I miss that lady.
Yeah. I'm always moms, you know, when I experience people, when I come across people that experience major challenges, you know, with their parents in general, not just their mom, but just, you know, familial issues actually in general. I find it to be like a personal mission to help, you know, just kind of ease some of those creases, smooth them out a little bit. Because I don't think people understand how important family is, right? Maybe not every family member, but family. But that also comes a part of that emotional dependence, right? So I just think that, first of all, no matter what downs, you know, my mom and I had, it will never ever matter, because she was a absolute wonderful mother, and like, that's going with me to my grave. There's nothing that she can do that's going to undo her goodness, because for one, I understand human condition. For two, I understand that she is not perfect. And three, I understand that she absolutely never abandoned me. So absolutely. Yeah. Because of that, like, to me, that's loyalty, right? To me, that's also responsibility, accountability, and just all those other words, you know, whatever other words you want to throw in there, you can throw them in there, because I've seen how hard life can get. And so every day, every day she made the choice that I'm going to live and we'll figure it out. And the we was her and me, right? That's who it was. She never left me out of that equation. And yeah, there were a lot of times it was hard. You know, I shared with y'all before, like, we were homeless. My mom was pregnant. We were homeless, living in a car. And that ain't the only hard time. You know, we had some more after that. So it's just that I just feel like my mama is the epitome of handling your business. And that's real. And so when I hear you say, like, you know, I miss that woman, it just kind of makes me like want to go love on her a little bit more. So she might get an extra hug or a phone call or something. She always question when I'm mushy, right? She'd be like, oh, Where'd that come from? Just take it. Shut up. Take the hug. Yep. Don't ask no questions. I know Trudy you like it.
Trudy says, oh, wow, I was 9 months with my son. Mm-hmm. And she said that was so mean. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, the struggle is real. And I think, and you know, we are all like one bad day from our worst day, right? I always say that, right? So like, because and that's why you got to be rooted and grounded. That's why
you have to be. You
gotta know Jesus. Like I don't even know any other way to put it.
Let me tell you something. Because
what if we didn't know who Jesus was during the midst of this pandemic? Like, right? Like,
I mean, we saw what happened, right? Like we saw examples. People, when I do public speaking events, it's so funny because we're kind of talking about this in Sunday school at church, but this thing about not offending people of other faiths or non-faiths or whatever, I will tell people, if it's not okay for me to talk about my faith, my God, my Jesus, then I'm not the speaker for you. Oh, well, this is not a Christian event. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, right? I don't care what kind of event it is. When you start asking me questions, you know, because my platform is identity development, right? And self-esteem. So self-development and things like that. And like God is interwoven in that. So when you start asking me questions like, oh, or you mentioned you had to go back to school and redo all of that, right? Lose all of them credits over there and just start fresh. What kept you going? I don't need to be skirting around. What kept me going? Oh, it was a great support system and Jesus. I need to be able to say that and not be worried about anybody else.
Right.
And it wasn't Jesus for you, it was for me. And
right. I'm just telling you, that's not saying that I'm telling you that I'm just telling you what worked for me.
What worked for me, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. What worked for me was Jesus.
Right.
That's what I don't know. That's all I know. It was so.
That's all I know. So, you know, but they ask you questions, especially as a therapist, right? I get asked these questions. And yeah, I'll be honest, there are times where I'm kind of forced to be politically correct, whatever the heck that means. But I'm always going to say it, you know. For me, I'm gonna tell you what works, right? Like praying to God, to Christ. Right. Those are the things that work for me. And I say it like this: I don't know how to tell you how to get through without identifying, you know, that connection, that spiritual connection, that faith connection. You got to be rooted in something. So I'm encouraging you to find your something. Christ works for me. Find your something. If you want to know more about Christ, I'll be glad to fill you in. Like that's kind of how I have to spin it. But I can't tell y'all from any other perspective because it's not mine. And that would be very inauthentic. It would be a big old fat lie.
Right.
That's what I got.
Trudy says sometimes 1 minute from crumbling. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
1 second from crumbling.
Right.
That's I'm telling y'all, that's like the quiet. Okay. Me being quiet, it serves a lot of different purposes. You know, that self-preservation, that was the first word that I had because really that's what came out. Just being able to conserve the energy that's left, right? So we're gonna close down. It's like a reboot. We got to re-up, you know, got to be quiet for various reasons. Life is hard. Life is hard. COVID definitely didn't make it any easier, and all of the changes that are still continuing to happen because of it, I don't think they're going anywhere, like for real, because we're, you know, 2 years, right? Or is it coming up on 2 years? See, I done lost count. It just feels like a while now. Yeah. And so for me, it's just, again, what are we going to do? We're going to wake up in the morning and choose live, or we're going to roll over and die. And for me, my authentic self really is like figuring out how to live and not just like make it, you know. I remember when I was a child at our church, and I always feel like the elderly people said it and just never understood it. Oh, I'm yet holding on, you know. I'm yet making it. And I remember I used to just kind of sit with that, like, you don't have no other option.
Right.
And of course I get it, right? I get it. But words, they mean a lot. And I feel like I feel like we have seen some very trouble-filled situations play out. Everybody can find one, right? In their own lives or even indirectly, where you still decided this is not the end of me.
Right.
Right. My mom and I was living in a car while she was pregnant, not with me. I was in the car with her and she was pregnant with a baby, just in case that wasn't clear. So I was alive and aware that I was living in a car.
Right.
And I remember it was like life was still normal though. My mom still read to me, you know, we still laughed. Maybe she cried when she got to work. Maybe she cried after I fell asleep. I don't know. She never did it in front of me. But for her, it was just like, we are in a horrible situation, but every day doesn't have to be horrible, right? Like, how is that going to help me? So it would, you know, we would sing songs, we would go for car rides, we would just do things because we still have that choice. And so that's really, I feel like this is a time where people need to understand that they still have a choice. You can still choose to live. You can still choose peace. You can still choose happiness. Your circumstances and situations do not have to dictate how you live your life. It just doesn't. Oh, MikaFresh, you don't know what I'm going through. You ain't never been here. You don't know. You really don't know.
Right.
I'm sharing some things with you, tell you that I do know some of these things, right? And we can still choose. Right. Really can still choose. Understand the power that we have in our mouths. So, and that's another part of the shutdown, right?
Yeah.
It keeps me from speaking death into situations.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good, Mika.
This season has been tumultuous for so many people, you know, like, you not only you just feel it, you have this energy, you can feel it, you hear it, people are reporting it, you can see it, and you're just like, man. And then you still hear about babies being born, weddings, celebrations, graduations. People are choosing to live. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, y'all. Get in line. Get in line. If COVID, the flu never went anywhere, right?
Right.
Still got it. COVID is not going anywhere because that's not how viruses work.
Right.
So we really do. We got to figure out how to continue well. It's necessary for survival. I don't want to I just feel like my promise wasn't every day to wake up and be like, oh God, I got to do this again. That wasn't promised to me.
Right.
Whew. Let me stop now.
That's good. That's
stop
good
now.
stuff.
That's a very intense, you know, like counseling sessions over the last 2 weeks. So I'm feeling that. And I just feel led to encourage people. That's all.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mika.
Yeah.
This is the Sharing with Shani show, highlighting ordinary people working for an extraordinary God, sharing love, light, and life. Next week, we will be on. Mika, I know you take holidays, but I'll be working.
It's Indigenous People Day, so I do want to kind of share a little bit about that So I'll be on. I'll be on. Not the whole show, but I'll be on. All
right, sounds good. So we have Tiana Goodwin will be on, and Mika will be on, and we hope that you come back and join us. Thank you. God bless you.
I sound so bougie when you say that, though, Mika. I know you don't do holidays.
Listen, I just want you to know that I know.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that.
Okay. The whisper, in case anybody missed it at the top, was stand in faith. That's the whisper.
Stand in faith.
Stand in faith. Yep. Thank you, Shani.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace, everyone.